Welcome, listeners and viewers, back to Mind Games with Guerin Emig, podcast from the Sellout Crowd network. This is my show that tries to get inside the minds of some of the key figures around OAU, OSU football right now, since it is football season across the Big 12 Conference, which brings me to my special guest on this week's show. He's Randy Peterson, the Moines Register columnist who has covered the Cyclones. Randy, can we call you the dean of Iowa State sports coverage? That's fair, isn't it, given your ride there up there with the Cyclones?
Yeah, probably. I've been at the Register. I'm going on 51 years now, so
Yeah.
I'll take that with respect.
It was meant.
I'll take that bit of respect. Yes.
Yeah, trust me. If there's anyone who's going to give us what I'm saying is, if there's anyone qualified to give us insight on what the Cowboys are about to encounter in Ames Saturday and what the Sooners will encounter the next weekend in Norman, it's Randy. Yeah, and it's an interesting time, isn't it, sir, with things happening or maybe things that aren't happening for Matt Campbell's team. And it starts with Matt Campbell. We last left him in a kind of a weird-looking moment coming off the field at Ohio University last Saturday. ISU loses the game 10-7, continues to struggle with offense and moving the ball, continues to struggle with missing pieces. A fan, I assume it was an Iowa State fan, looked dressed as one anyway, went after Campbell, mentioning something about a hot seat, and Matt didn't take too kindly to it. Randy, what's going on, and is this a big deal?
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, but what happened was I had, as you know, we have to file stories at the Horn. I mean, as soon as the game's over, it's annoying, but that's what we have to do in this website age. And so I didn't get down to the field to see that. I mean, sometimes if it's a blowout game, which Iowa State doesn't play those anymore, I can get down to the field and let one of the editors edit or add the score. But I couldn't. Right. I couldn't do that this time. So I didn't follow the team off. I didn't see it. I didn't know it even happened until I saw it. Somebody sent me a video. Now, it was a bad look for Matt Campbell. I do believe that. I'd never seen that person before, never ever. At least from what the view of it I got on the video. And Matt Campbell was asked about it yesterday at his press conference, and he said that he just overreacted. He shouldn't let his emotions get the best of him in a situation like that. And then afterwards, Campbell and I usually talk on the side, Guerin, how that happens sometimes. We just talk on the side, just happy talk about families or whatever. Sure. And I said to Campbell, I said, dude, what would you have done? What would you have done if the cop wouldn't have stopped you? He looked at me and he said, I hope nothing. He says, I don't have any idea. He said, probably nothing. But as far as the hot seat thing, maybe he is in some people's minds, but certainly in the person's mind that matters most, that'd be Jamie Pollard. I don't foresee that. I don't see it at all. He's got a very young roster, but that happened after the game, unfortunately. But we move forward.
I think it's. I'm not speaking out of turn here, Randy, when I say that Campbell is universally admired around the league. Other fan bases, I think, enjoy how he manages the program, the media interactions he has when weeks again the Cyclones are playing either OU or OSU. We've seen the fire before. The incident I remember on the sidelines at the Big 12 championship a few years ago, right? Where wanted a call that he didn't get, and it took several minutes for that fuse to sort of be cut. So the fact that he turns and looks like he might go after a fan coming off the field in a loss, it's not the most surprising thing we've ever seen. But I do wonder if it's symbolic of sort of deeper rooted frustrations, and whether it's not just that result that day against a group of 5 team. Everyone thought when the schedule came out, Iowa State would dust off. Not that result so much as just some things that are going on up there that we'll talk about that would frustrate a coach who maybe thought a season was going to turn a different direction when it began.
Yeah, it's been a crazy offseason, or crazy. There's no off season. It's been crazy since Iowa State got blown out by whatever it was, 48 against TCU in the final game last year. So yeah, there was a lot of frustration boiling over. at that point. And then Iowa State, the situation after the game followed a field goal, a good, no good, whatever it was, field goal.
Yeah, could have been
could have
close.
tied the game late in the game.
Right.
That went above the uprights, and I couldn't tell. I saw every TV angle on the planet, and I still could not tell.
Neither could I.
Yeah. So, but interestingly, that's happened before with Iowa State. In whatever year, 2001, I think, whatever it was, Iowa State played Alabama with Dan McCarney was coaching Iowa State, played Alabama. Right. In the whatever that was in Shreveport, Independence Bowl.
Yeah.
And with 30 seconds to go or whatever, Tony Yelk hit a 48-yarder way above the uprights. That's how far it was kicked. Yeah. And the referees waved it off. So this has happened before. So the incident followed that. I mean, followed the field goal, the missed field goal, whatever it was, followed another horrific offensive performance from an offensive line that has not improved, consistently improved at least in the 8 years that Matt Campbell has been there. And there was just a ton of frustration right then at that point in time.
Yeah. Let's leave Campbell here, Randy. I don't, the fan used the term hot seat.
Right.
I can't ever envision a scenario again at Iowa State where Matt Campbell would have to worry about being on the hot seat. I guess if he drops off 2-10 this year, we can revisit that. I don't think it, and I guess that's conceivable given the way things look right now. We'll see what happens Saturday. But to me, the question regarding Campbell is more, did he miss an opportunity? Right, linked to bigger jobs in and out of college football. Talking about the NFL. Is it possible that if he ever had higher aspirations, and you would be better suited to say whether he does or doesn't, that he feels that that's also a sort of an offshoot here, that there's frustration in, gosh, man, what? Maybe I missed the boat, the chocolate factory boat, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know whether that. I doubt it. I think that's what maybe the off season is for. If in fact he is going to be that I don't envision that him being that type of person. Yeah, he had chances to go elsewhere. Florida State, I think, was a while back was a very good possibility. Arkansas a while back was a very good possibility. I never bought the Notre Dame stuff. Never ever did I buy that. The Detroit Lions. From what I understand, that was more than a possibility. That was money on the Detroit Lions were in the plane going to Ames to talk to him, to try to woo him. So I don't know whether he second guesses himself on that, at least during this season. There's too much going on. And I will say this about Matt Campbell. Like I said, we talk after press conferences every so often, and we talk about families. He's ingrained in my head that his family just absolutely loves the Ames community, and they do. I mean, he's got 5 kids. They absolutely love the community. Erica, his wife, is very active. They are very active, and they like it. But at some point, will Matt Campbell, like to get out? Maybe, yeah. And I know the jobs. A while back, I figured out that the jobs that I thought would be interesting for him would be Notre Dame, obviously Ohio State, considering he's an Ohio State guy. Maybe a Penn State because it's not too far from Ohio, and I even thought Michigan State at that point in time. So here's the Michigan State stuff going on again.
No, I was about to ask.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know whether it's going to take an athletic director to hire a coach who, coming off of 4-8 last year, coming off of 7-6, with the best roster Iowa State's ever had. That's gonna be interesting. That would be an interesting call. So we'll see, but I don't think he thinks about that stuff, at least during the season. I really don't.
Well, if you've already reached the point, if you're a fan and you're counting wins and thinking, well, where do you get one coming out of non-conference the way Iowa State did, losing to Ohio not being real punchy against the Hawkeyes. Saturday would certainly qualify. I would think these two teams are mirror images. Randy, you've got problems
Yes.
on offense up and down. I mean, it starts with the O-line in both instances,
Right.
but trickles to quarterback, trickles to the skill positions. So you're basically asking your defense to keep it under 20 if you can, and then find a way to scratch out 17 to 20 yourself. I think Iowa State's in better position to do that than OSU, but I don't know. Is this, number one, is this become a must win right out of the Big 12 gate when you consider this, the inherent shortcomings for this team? And number two, is it, first team to score a touchdown probably wins at Jack Trice this weekend? What do you think?
Yes, I agree with you on both counts. Campbell said before the Ohio game last week, we always have Campbell on Tuesdays, and he said on the Tuesday before the Ohio game last week, he said, this is a must-have game for us, meaning the Ohio game, and they lost that. Well, he was given every opportunity to call the Oklahoma State game a must-win, a must-have game or whatever. He did not, but yes, it is. If Iowa State is going to improve on last year's 4-8 record, as I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Bad down. It's not bad, but as down as the Big 12 may appear to be,
Right.
With the only two rated teams as the ones that are leaving. Yeah, I would think there's availabilities out there for victories, but for an Iowa State team that has zero offense, yeah, I think Iowa State thinks that. excuse me. That
Yeah.
This is Iowa State's shot. If Iowa State does not win on Saturday, then I don't see them beating. It may be a 1-win season. It very well could be a 1-win season, and I'm pretty sure that Oklahoma State's thinking the same way, licking their chops coming into Ames.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. And as far as the team scoring the first touchdown, maybe the first field goal. I don't know, and in which overtime. You've got. I mean, my gosh, you've got two of the worst offenses in the country that are among the nation's worst in college football. I looked up those stats before we came on here, and my gosh, it's just ridiculous. Iowa State has no offensive line, and just from the outside looking in now, it looks like Gundy doesn't know who he's starting quarterback, who the quarterback is. So
not publicly, right?
Yeah, so it's in a weird way, it could be an exciting game if you like close games. And Iowa State, that's what Iowa State's done. So I don't foresee another Brock Purdy moment though. Remember that year, whatever year that was, 2018 at Oklahoma State when Purdy came off the bench and shocked everybody, including me.
Yeah,
and beat Oklahoma State there, and now he's running the show for one of the best teams in the NFL. But I don't foresee another moment like that, trust me. But I do foresee a close game, and like I said, it like you said, first team with the first touchdown or the first field goal, because defenses are going to have to score. Iowa State's defense has scored a touchdown this year already.
I was going to say,
So maybe, and plus it's in Ames, and it's Iowa State's fan base is still loyal. They're very loyal. I mean, they were loyal when Iowa State was bad, and I'm not considering the program bad now. It's just going through a hiccup, and I wrote today about how this roster got so young, and that's just a factor that they're going through right now. But Campbell's, they say, has recruited very well, if you believe the recruiting ratings. So we'll see what happens. But Saturday, I don't think we'll see any highlights on SportsCenter.
Yeah, well, your column hits on the youth, and that's something you can't do anything about outside of developing it. If you're Campbell and staff, there's something else that's beyond his control is a state investigation into athlete gambling, sports wagering, that caught Iowa and Iowa State up in that net and cost both teams valuable players. Again, this is an excuse that Campbell has that Gundy doesn't. Gundy has a full allotment of his quarterbacks. Campbell lost Hunter Deckers before the season began. Campbell lost his returning leading rusher, right? Brock was their leading rusher a year ago.
Brock, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ollie Gordon's there for the Cowboys Saturday. That that leads us into a revisitation of what was a big story, right? About 6 weeks ago when it broke. I know you spent a lot of time on it, as well as your colleagues up at the Register. And then the season starts, especially us in Oklahoma. We kind of forget about it. It trickled down to OSU because they picked up an Iowa transfer named Arlen Bruce, who Gundy said was in line to really help that offense. They could use him right now, it appears. But outside of that, that development, it sort of came and went here. It probably came and went a lot of places. It probably shouldn't, though, right? Because this has reverberation potential. And I talked to OSU's compliance director last week about how much this suddenly becomes a big deal to him, perhaps his peers and other schools. Have we overlooked this with the proliferation of the legalization of sports wagering? Since we all know college kids like to gamble, whether illegally or not. It's a demographic that sort of feeds into things like DraftKings and FanDuel and easy access with your phone. Let me ask you this. I mean, we see it now as a reason why Iowa State is struggling, but how do you see that story, 6 to 7 weeks after it broke, and how do you see it moving forward for programs outside of Iowa and Iowa State? How dangerous is this?
Well, I guarantee you that administrators, compliance people everywhere throughout the nation are watching. At least the ones that are in states that have legalized gambling. Does Oklahoma have legalized gambling?
It does not.
Okay. But okay,
that becomes a bit of a net right now.
Yeah.
But I think the day is coming. I think the day is coming. And by the way, there are still ways around.
Oh, exactly. Right. Exactly. But the kids at Iowa and the kids at Iowa State, they were betting. Some of them were betting on their own teams at their own schools.
Right.
Some of them were betting on their own football team. One Iowa State player bet on an Iowa State game, and he bet Iowa State to lose, and he lost the bet. but it has hit the Iowa State football team. Like you said, the starting quarterback, Hunter Deckers, starting running back, starting tight end, starting defensive lineman, starting offensive lineman, who is coming back. The NCAA, the offensive lineman, he'll be back. He got a 6-game suspension from the NCAA because he fessed up and he bet on games not associated with Iowa State. So he's going to play in after Game 6, but the others, I don't foresee them out there. They're appealing. I don't even know where those situations are right now. Have we talked to lawyers? Dude, we're doing everything we can to get to the bottom of this. How this whole thing started. Why just the state of Iowa when we know what's going on everywhere?
Right.
We've got a team of reporters who have been looking into this since the middle of May when this happened. Who was the whistleblower? How did this happen? And we can't get it. There's documents are sealed because it's still ongoing. One of the cases is supposed to go to trial next month, sometime in October.
Mm-hmm.
So possibly there'll be something that comes out of there through statements, through whatever cross-examination or during the trial. Possibly some of the background on the cherry on top. How did this trickle down to the agents, to the Iowa Racing and Gaming Commission, to the feds? How did this happen? But that's the unanswered question right now, is where that started. And we've had people working on that since, like I said, since May. So who knows? I don't know.
And let me ask you a follow up on that front. Kirk Ferentz is the head coach who has gone on record as saying, why were we why were we? I don't know. Has Campbell said something to that effect?
Campbell has not. Campbell has not said that. Campbell has played it pretty much by the book, and that's Matt Campbell's DNA. But I was covering an Iowa State spring event, a fan event, about 2 hours north of Des Moines, in April or whatever, in May. That maybe the day after this thing broke. Iowa State wrestling coach Kevin Dresser was there, and I was the only reporter there. And I asked Dresser about this, and Dresser went off. I mean, he absolutely went off.
Mm-hmm.
Why the state of Iowa? Why only athletes when the rest of the student, the rest of the student body is doing the same thing? Why did they pick on athletes? Dresser really went off, and which good for him. Good for him. He called it a witch hunt. But as far as Matt Campbell, he's not done anything like that. That's not Matt Campbell's DNA. And he's never done it. He's played it by the book. We've given him every opportunity. But Kirk Ferentz, I covered Iowa for a lot of years too. Kirk's got he's got quite a bit of cachet out there right now. So he can pretty much say what he wants, and he does. Kirk's a very emotional guy. And I'm good for him. He's stuck up for his guys. And I'm not saying Iowa State hasn't stuck up for their players. Matt has said that they've helped them. They're helping anybody that wanted to go through the appeal process. Iowa State would do anything in its power to help them do it. But Matt just hasn't come out like Dresser did or like Ferentz did.
Gotcha. Well, if you're an OSU listener, viewer to the show, and again, your care here, it extends only to the fact that, well, we would have been cool to have Arlen Bruce in the offense, a slot receiver that might have helped turn things around. That's one way to look at it. The second way is to read the comments from your compliance director, your associate AD in charge of compliance, Ben Dyson in this case, who used the phrase, we are holding our breath a little bit here. Sports wagering may not be legal in Oklahoma, but the day is coming it will be. And in the meantime, these are players that go to other states when they go home, or they go to other states to play where gambling is legal. And there are ways around the system. And if you've got a compliance director as on the record as Ben was with me, you should probably worry about this a little bit more than that it costs the Cowboys a potential starting inside receiver. The other picture I can't get out of my mind, Randy, is I was in Ames the last time these two teams played 2 years ago. It was one of the best games I saw that season. Just two terrific teams playing. I thought at just about maximum level. Cyclones won, close game, could have gone either way. Atmosphere fantastic. It really was what college football in the Big 12 is all about. And in the meantime, on the sideline behind Purdy, his backup quarterback, is a guy who had bet on that game for Iowa State, right? Decker's admitted to or was alleged to bet.
Somebody did. Yeah, exactly.
On that game.
Yeah.
And so that's just interesting.
But he didn't play in that game, but nonetheless.
No, he didn't play, but if Purdy had gone out.
Exactly. Let me say this about the guys who were accused of gambling. They're good guys. They are. I mean, they treated me nice, and over the years I've been at the Register, if somebody treats me nice, that's cool. I mean, and you've been there, done that. I mean, and I like those players. I do. Sure. They're good guys. So I just want to get that out there. Did they make a mistake? Yes. Is the NCAA rules archaic? Say what you want to about that. Say absolutely what you want to about that. It did not take the NCAA long to change their penalties after this. But these are good guys. I mean, it's just unfortunate they did it. And will they play college football again? I hope so, someplace. But I just had to say that. I mean, it's unfortunate that it happened. It's unfortunate for them, their teammates, the schools. But we move on. They'll move on.
Yeah. I'm sure. One more thing about the state of the program right now compared to, maybe longer term ramifications. This will be sort of a new world order in the Big 12 next year with the Pac-12 addition and OU and Texas departure. Does sort of rallying and getting back on track between now and the end of the season for Campbell, Randy, does it become more important not just for the here and now, but in terms of setting up Iowa State for sort of anyone's game? I mean, there's going to be a number of programs that will be looking to seize the opportunity left open, right, by Oklahoma and Texas. So is there sort of this will have ramifications moving forward if this doesn't get turned around? Is there a piece of that as well?
Right. There's certainly availability. There's certainly opportunities, like you said, out there next year. I mean, obviously, it's huge opportunities. And Iowa State, the thing about Iowa State is they're so darn young. What's that number? 30. I think the number is 30. 33 players, sophomores or younger, have played for Iowa State. They've started two true freshmen, freshmen now. So this team is built for the future, but they have to play in the here and now. So yeah, there's quite a bit of trying to win this year, yet looking ahead to the future, and the future not only of Iowa State football, the future in the Big 12 as well. Like you said, because there's going to be opportunities, and I haven't really followed all that closely what the college football playoffs are doing, but that certainly seems. I'm pretty sure they're expanding to 12 at some point. That's certainly going to be a possibility and a carrot out there for whoever in the Big 12, and
Right.
as of now, I could not tell you who that would be. I mean, I couldn't. TCU's not who TCU was last year.
Right.
Central, I don't know that much about the newcomers.
We were still learning about the four that just came in, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll just have to see how everything plays out after the end of this year, and who knows? Maybe there'll be two more teams in the conference for next year if the Pac-12 goes, or Pac whatever we're calling it now, goes completely. So who knows? I write everything in pencil when I write it down on my notebook. So
does make our jobs more interesting. That's to put it kindly, I suppose. Moving forward, okay, let's get you out of here with some exit questions. Have a little fun before we turn you loose back to your grind there at the Register. Randy, your favorite Iowa State athlete you ever covered would be?
Oh wow, George Niang. Does it have to be a football player?
No.
Okay, George Niang, what a guy! I love George Niang. I mean,
I did too.
He great sense of humor. He was good with me again. He's certainly my favorite. Yes,
I covered Niang from afar on OU's Final Four run when Buddy Hield exploded as the National Player of the Year, and he and George were friends. And actually, I think wrote at one point that season about that relationship. And Niang couldn't have been classier. It doesn't surprise me to hear you say that.
Yeah, he's wonderful. I mean, we still stay in contact. Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that. You mentioned the Iowa State support's going to be there, win or lose. They'll show up and pack, or just about. Jack tries Saturday. Yeah. It's a fantastic tailgate scene. Randy, when's the last time you had the chance to tailgate before a football game?
The next time, the next time the time I do, I'd never have. I mean, it's during off Saturdays when Iowa State doesn't play on Saturday, I'll sneak away to a place I go on a lake, just get away from things.
Oh, that sounds great.
For a while. So I never have, and probably sooner rather than later I will be able to experience that. And that's no hint or anything. But
I was going to say, are you breaking news on yourself?
No, I'm not breaking news. I'm in the fourth quarter, shall we say? No, I'm not breaking news. But we're in the fourth quarter, and so sooner rather than later, I probably will start tailgating someplace.
Okay.
Someplace. I don't know where. Someplace. Whoever will have me.
I would assume you could get whatever you want from whoever you want in Ames and elsewhere. When you decide that it's time for the golden parachute. All right, last thing. Where there's Iowa State tailgating, there's Busch Light. You can't connect a fandom up there in Ames without connecting their perceived beverage of choice. Once and for all, Randy, is this overrated, the obsession with Busch Light among Iowa State's faithful? Is it right on, or is it somewhere in between?
I think it's somewhere in between, but I do. While I don't tailgate and walk around the tailgates, and if somebody wants to offer me a Diet Coke or a water, sure, I'll take it. And I chat. I mean, I'm sure we've all done it. It's a good way to interact. So I guess I see most people, not most people, a lot of Busch Light. I see a lot of Bud Light. They've got this stuff right now. The craft beer places are making are sticking a Ames logo on beer cans. So I don't even know what it is. But I'm a Bud Light guy. It's strictly a Bud Light guy, so I'm not going to get into that other stuff. But I would say it's somewhere in the middle. But Busch Light certainly is popular.
Yeah, I've tried it. I got to tell you, it must be an acquired taste. That's all
I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah,
and I'm talking about Busch Light here, not your preference. Okay.
Yeah.
You've been a good sport. You've been full of insight. I knew you would be. Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register coming on to tell us about the Cyclones. OSU plays in Ames this week. The Cyclones come to Norman next Saturday, 3 p.m. Saturday in Ames.
This Saturday 3, next Saturday, the dreaded 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. under the lights at Owen Field. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where the Cyclones go and the Cowboys go this weekend and beyond. It's challenging times, I think, for both programs, to say the least. Randy's been great. You've been great for tuning in. Catch us every week here on Mind Games, a Sellout Crowd Network production. Producer Jacquelyn Hargrove. We have Michael Lane to thank for being our creative director. Jacquelyn Musgrove. My mistake, Jacquelyn. It'll never happen again. I'm thinking Mike Hargrove. Randy might know who I'm talking about, the famous
exactly.
The Texas Ranger of the 70s, the human rain delay, they called him. Jacquelyn is no rain delay. She's the only reason we go on the air and are as efficient as we are every week. Catch Mind Games and other Sellout Crowd podcasts, however you consume your podcast content, whether it's Spotify or YouTube or any other place you see it. Just make sure you like and subscribe moving forward, and we will talk to you next week.